Yes, sir.
Architecture class is there.
Monday?
For information security, there is. Hello,
Monday 9 a.m. you have class, na?
sir. 9 to
Yes, sir.
4:30 we have
Architecture.
our class.
Yes, sir. Computer architecture.
Computer architecture is there. Then uh, after that from 10,
Computer security class.
computer security. Okay, then I'll check the timetable uh, because I need at least one class on one more class on every working day so that we can complete the things which is required. Okay, and now we'll come to the business. Now, my question is that if you have gone through that that day, I have shown you. Okay, let me share that thing, then we'll discuss. So we are supposed to discuss one proof, and last class I say I'll take some time. We'll be a bit of slow with doing that, but it is required. We are discussing one proof, that proof of a particular problem to be NP complete. We talk about there are two approaches. One is approach, this is a four-step process, and another approach what we try to prove, we try to take the advantage that a particular uh, property, I mean, you cannot, it's not exactly a property, it's a voting or what everybody has agreed that the intersection of, I'll take 1 minute. Yeah. So the second one is the four-step approach what we have discussed. The second approach is that what we try to do, we prove the problem to be in NP. Look into the last line. We prove a problem to be in NP. And second, instead of going through the step number 2, 3, 4, what we have discussed in the first approach, we'll try to prove the problem is NP hard. NP hard proof, for one example we have discussed. I hope you have gone through that. Now, why we try to do that? Because we accepted this diagram. Okay. We accepted this diagram which comes from the by voting from the majority of the researcher. So first I prove my problem in NP area, this light green area. Then if I prove my problem is in the shadow area, this silver area, then obviously the intersection is NP complete, my problem is NP complete. So that is the idea. This accepted fact is taken into consideration to do that. That is the reason in second approach, whichever suitable depending on the problem. Sometimes proving the first point is always easy. Proof of the vertex cover or any other problem is in NP when the solution space is exponential. Okay, that part is clear, I hope. And proof of the vertex or any problem is NP hard. There we are doing, again I repeat, three-step process. Here I am doing only one step. It's a proof is two-step process to prove a problem to be NP complete. Again I repeat why I am doing like this, because first I prove my problem belongs to NP, this light green area. Then I prove my problem belongs to this shadow area. So hence my problem which belongs to both. That is definitely the intersection of that. That means intersection of NP and intersection of NP hard is the NP complete. So because of that property only, this proof, I mean the proving of a vertex cover of NP complete is proceeds. So I have 6 to 7 examples to discuss. So I sincerely want your feedback in that. If you have gone through that, we'll proceed, or again we'll give pause to this discussion. We'll resume after some time and we'll enter into another module which is independent. Okay. Because I want few people should understood, because I want, because there is a very scarcity of the people, those who have understood the proving of these things, very rare. Maybe people with computer science, if you take a country into consideration, you won't find even 1% people have understood this thing. The reason is that people are not spending, I mean, teachers are not spending the time to explain what I feel, and we learn with a lot of difficulties. So I know what is the difficulty on learning this skill. So what I feel, you take again one day, and I'll telling you maybe just after this one class in the, I mean, uh, after today's class, maybe one class will be discussed on the other topic. Then we'll be back to the proof. Okay, we'll back to the proof. At that time, I'll continue and hope by that time you have gone through and it will be comfortable for you to understood the problems. Before that, I'll post what are the problem. I'll update. There will be 2 slides on NP Complete DASD NP Complete 1 and DSNC NP Complete 2. And you look into the slide number 2 NP Complete 2, where the problem statement, basic definition, suppose I say click or Hamiltonian, all the definitions will be there. You have to go through that, and then in the class I'll update that slide for the proof. Okay, so we are entering into one of the data structure portion, which is the hashing, and it's a very fascinating subject because we know this is the fastest data structure or the fastest searching technique. Okay, when I say my problem solving is nothing but the searching, so I am looking for a searching techniques which is fast. If I am comparing, I am searching for a solution in a solution space. If I'll arrange the solution space into a data structure called hash or hash table, then definitely I can solve the problem quickly. Right now, let us come to the DNS server. Okay, DNS server is what you try to type the google.com and that has to be resolved. If the google.com will be directly mapped to a memory location and it can be resolved quickly. Otherwise, in a list, a search has to be performed. Okay, now we'll come to the hashing. So this particular mechanism is, you can say, the first thing is that when we try to create a data structure, the way we store the information or the element or the data is facilitate us how we are searching. There are very small problem solvings are available. I mean, good number of exercise problems are available for the hashing. So this is without looking into the details, we can talk about a dictionary when we try to search. Have you come across the ADT of a dictionary? Any of you? Abstract data type. How you write abstract data type in new data structure? If I'll ask, write down the abstract data type for binary search tree, what you will write? Yes.
I write the class
Linked
for it.
list
Yes, please.
or linked list.
No, not the implementation. I am looking for a design. Abstract data type, not, don't go for implementation, don't refer to any language. I am looking for a abstract data type for binary search tree. Or typically I am coming to very fundamental thing, the way we define a data structure. I told from the beginning, there we have a fixed representation, right? We have a fixed representation. That is your choice. When you are realizing through the language, you may be using an array, or you may be using the linked list, or you are using any other primitive data structure or data type supported by either your machine or your compiler, or indirectly you can say programming language. But when we look into, because I am discussing on a definition which was there when the class concept is not there. So that at that time the data structure is defined in terms of 3 DFA. Okay, DFA. DFA. Again, I repeat, if you refer to the Sahani book, and you will be finding it is using three terms. So 3 terms is like this: D. Then you have F. Then you have A. So A is actually axioms. Okay, A is axioms. You know what is axiom? What is axiom? Yes, please. Yes, what is axiom?
Set of rules.
Yes, does it require a proof?
No, sir.
No. Right?
No, sir.
No. Sun rises in the east. Does it require a proof? Similar to that. Okay. So when we let us talk about, sometimes I ask a question that integer is a data structure. So I have an integer. I call it as an integer as a data structure. Then I have a fixed set of representation for integer, right? Maybe 16-bit, maybe 32-bit, maybe 64-bit, depending on what type of support I am having in the hardware, right? Then this is the sequence when class diagram was not there. So don't get confused why I have written funcs. Then it comes integer axioms. What is axioms? If I'll add two integers, I'll get an integer. If I'll multiply two integers, I'll get a two integer. If I'll subtract two integer, I'll get integer, right? Sometimes you know about additive identity, additive universe, but always you'll get an integer. So that is the reason the function is defined first. That means what are the functions you can perform on the top of the a representation which you want to call as a integer. So then I have to define that function that I can add, I can multiply, I can divide, I can go for reciprocation, I can go for complementation, like many functions. Now similarly, suppose for binary search tree, you want to insert, you want to delete, you want to calculate the sum of the nodes, you want to calculate sum of the leaf nodes, you may include the different type of traversal technique. So these are the functions. Okay, axioms actually empowers to verify that the particular data structure of the property is restored. That means integer will be remain as an integer. So if you look into that context, we'll come to the hash table. So hash table is a data structure. When I ask to write down the abstract data type of a hash table in the present context, without confusing yourself, if you will write down the class diagram or only class definition for a hash table, that will be enough. Any query from you? Hello. Any explanation you require further? Can you write a class? There are three parts: name of the class, the attributes. Let us say I am going for a 16-bit integer. If I say it is a stack, I have a array of n number of element, then I am taking a help of a top pointer. If I am going for a queue, I am using two different pointers and a linear array. So that is coming under your what you are defining. Just try to write down the class structure. So when this class concept was not there, people are using a pseudocode notation. They call it as a abstract data type. So once a abstract data type is designed or written for a data structure, we take the help of the language or programmer how to realize that one. Okay. So now if you look into the hash table and what are the functions you are expecting when you try to go for a fastest search or a problem solving process. So something comes to your mind and you are going for a data structure. So without looking into the detail, the second, we are looking for a data structure where the search performs in the constant time or average time. Why search takes the average time or a constant time? Anyone can explain? Yes, why it takes constant time? How much time it takes to search element in an array?
It takes a single
Maximum order of
index processor.
No, please try to relate where first you think. When I say don't look into array that like a array, look into that where the array is created. Where the array is created.
Unsorted array order of n.
No,
And
no,
for
where a array is created in computer when you try to perform a search.
heap.
main memory.
Main memory, very good. It's in the main memory. So main memory is a semiconductor memory. Does it has a characteristic on searching? Yes, it is in the main memory. Very good. It's in the main memory you created in the array. Because in von Neumann concept, without storing your data in the main memory, you cannot operate on the data or your program cannot execute it. It's in a main memory, it's in a semiconductor memory, right? What is the characteristic that helps you when searching? If you look into the physically to the main memory, you have a characteristic that average, suppose you have a SIM or a DIM of maybe suppose say 4 GB or 8 GB, the average access time of any location is constant. Okay, it is written on the top of the memory chip or memory bank, and it is claimed by the manufacturer. So maybe it is 0.11 nanosecond, maybe it's a 1 second. So average access time of any location is constant. Okay, average access time for any location is constant. I can better explain when I'll be again discussing the B tree and others, how the B factor is being decided, looking into the type of memory you are having, and how it comes as a constraint when you look into the feature of the secondary storage as well as the main memory. Okay, so it is a linear memory array, but the property is that a constant access time. So this is a constant time per operation. This operation is possible in a data structure like hash table because it is permitted by the physical device. Okay. Logically, if you say it's only theory story, but your physical device permits that. Suppose you there is a lane, there are 100 quarters, people are residing in 100 quarter. If you want to search them and you don't have any particular address, you have to enter into every house and ask the person, are you this person? So it will take the time. You have to cover a distance. So that also come to the consideration. Even if the name of the person on the written on the outside nameplate, then you have to go to house number 1, then you have to move to the house number 2. That is also a distance. But in semiconductor memory, because of the property, that is the average access time of constant, whether the person resides in the first house or resides in the last house. Okay, so constant time operation is possible because we consider semiconductor memory. Somebody will say, I'll create a hash table in secondary memory. Can I get that? What do you want, sir? Somebody say, I'll create a hash table in secondary memory. Indirectly, I am asking, is the hash table at the data structure created in secondary memory? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, anybody can respond. Is the hash table is created in secondary memory? Hello?
No, sir.
No.
Sir, it is available in main memory only.
It's only main memory. So that is indirectly that property come to the picture. Look at the point number 2. The constant time operation is possible because it is arranged in main memory. So overscale time of computational size is the size of the set of each operation, just like array or chain implementation. Sometimes the data structure which you use is going to be affected. Maybe you have a larger bucket size, seek time, or the type of memory organization you are using. If you remember something like associative memory or content addressable memory, somebody is going to do that on a content addressable memory. Somebody is going to do that in the memory which is not content addressable, only addressable memory. So the mechanism will be different. Or why I am saying, say, tomorrow suppose you try to implement a operation with help of a hash table, and you have got enough information that I want to speed up my program which requires a hash table, you may be in a position to suggest the mechanism which is available in main memory is limiting my accession speed. And if I'll create a dedicated hardware which will be only used for the purpose of this hashing or the searching, and that part, if a user can afford the cost of the part, he can buy that type of processor or motherboard where a memory bank is there which is dedicatedly used for creating the hash table or a portion of the main memory which will be faster. A very good example of your, now you know you are getting the SSD. SSD, you know, hard disk. Earlier you used to get a hard disk and the main.
Solid state drive.
Yes, what is that? If any of you have used SSD, maybe you can say very much similar to your smartphone, you'll be finding a very good speed. Shutdown takes 1 second only, millisecond only. I have a small laptop for which I pay only 20,000 rupees. Performance is amazing. It takes 1 second to start, takes 1 second to close. But so now people are buying the machine both with secondary storage device as well as with the SSD. Why I'm saying, suppose you want to design an application, somebody will say, right, in the disk you cannot create, but a larger table like a big dictionary you can create in a virtual memory. So virtual memory is some part of the main memory, some part of the memory of the SSD. Definitely it will be faster. That is the reason that we should look into little bit towards the hardware when we look into the implementation. Those people are working on a machine learning. Truly those people have understood that what type of machine I need to execute in the machine learning, working on the thousand images. So they demand, no, without SSD I cannot work, because there will be a loading time is much more when I try to load the images from secondary memory to the main memory. So SSD is preferable. Okay, I can share you, if you want, anybody is interested, I can share you the machine configuration, how we decide the configuration for a medium range machine, 3 to 4 lakh, maybe larger range machine, to 15 to 16 lakh, maybe a crore of rupees machine supporting the infrastructure. So this is mostly. So that's why I say if somebody try to apply hashing, why I'm taking much time in the hashing, I told you. We have a student, she is the Google Woman of the Year, and she was the only girl, I think she was driving me in my class when she joined for her PhD program. She did her MTech research with us, but she was so effectively learning that particular subject. She was always finding the solution for her research problem in hashing, and finally she did a breakthrough. She was working on a biometric security. So many, the 2 chapters are coming out of because she able to apply the hashing. So that's why a side key, when you are listening to the topic, and in particular I am addressing to the PhD students, if you will not take in other way, if when you are learning a data structure, are you looking for a solution for your problem in data structure? You will definitely get. Last class I told, when we are looking for a problem, somebody presented in a cloud computing solution problem, he talked about 2 hours. Finally, I say him one line, have you gone through algorithm designed by Klenberg and traders? No. Do you know what is a stable matching? Yes, no, and I never heard of that before my research. I say, throw out the book, starting from the preface, stable matching is discussed. It's a NP complete problem, and it explains how they are going to solve the stable matching problem with help of a conventional algorithm, with help of a approximation algorithm, with help of a randomized algorithm. And he is trying to explain, showing only a random. I say, what type of random? Even you could have asked him a good number of questions. When somebody say, I am using a random algorithm, you can ask him, what type of random algorithm? If you are going for a random algorithm, the probability of getting answer is very low. Then why you are comparing that with a deterministic algorithm or a greedy algorithm? Okay, so that's a, please try to look into your problem domain. If you are looking a solution, definitely you will do some breakthrough which I cannot visualize. You can visualize because you have understood your problem. Okay, now come to the book. I think I told about the book, the data structure in C++. I used to refer this book for dynamic hashing and tries and others, and some portions from the Markland UIs to prepare this material. And I asked the people to download the codes. As I say, data structure algorithm in C++, there you'll find the hash table with C++, and in the Java you can find how utility class is used, what is the default size of the hash table which is available, how to write a program for a spell checker, how you can explain the hash table will be used in compiler to check the syntax or semantic, or maybe very simple application when you type a particular word in any word processor, the word starts with a red letter if you have a wrong spelling. So how it first is searches to indicate that your spelling is wrong, that is the application of the hash table. Okay, so why do we need hashing? There are many applications deals with a lot of data, that is search engine and web pages. You thought of that when you try to design a index. If you are searching a particular site very frequently, your local server or where the site pages are stored, it goes to up to a data structure based on the frequency, or it try to resolve the IP address very quickly. There are enumerable lookups are there. So lookup time is critical. As I have explained, the memory is coming to the picture, and you'll find it starts with a very small problem. It starts with even very critical problem, numerical problems. So typical data structure like array list may not be sufficient to handle the efficient lookup. So in general, the lookup we need that occurs in a constant time, which is theoretically order of 1 is claimed. That is the basic motivation for the hash. Then you may say, why we are not using hash table for all purpose? What will be the answer? Because sometimes when sometimes data size is large, it is not able to fit into the main memory. And we are going to create the hash table as a data structure in the main memory. That is the reason for all applications, we are not able to store the data at a time into the main memory. So either we divide the data, use it in the hash table, batch wise we do the searching, or we try to mix up. I'll explain you how a B tree or a B plus tree has to be mixed up, and the indexing you can add the hash indexing. Okay, so now the hash table logically, if we'll say we use two terms, bucket and slots. So when I say bucket 0, 1, there are B number of buckets. This is a logical representation which actually represents the address in main memory. If I look into that 0, 1 to B minus 1, this each row represents a unique addressable location in main memory. Let us look into a specific example. I have a 64-bit. What length is 64-bit on my processor, and I am using an integer which is 8-bit. So I can have 8 slots. This whole length is 64-bit, and my representation, my requirement is only 8-bit. So I can have 8 number of slots. Okay, I can have 8 number of slots. So how I am going to address? First I'll come to this address. Then if I want to go to the 4th location or 5th location, I must have a mechanism. I can treat this whole as an array, or I can design a combined index. Let us say, if I'll say this is 0, 0, you can come here. If I'll say this is 0, 1, you'll come here. Maybe I can code them binary. I have got 8. I'll use a 3-bit address here, so I can create a addressing mechanism so that I can directly land into the slot also. Okay, so simple definition of the hash table is the collection of items which are stored in such a way that it's easy to find out the later. That means when I try to create a solution space, if I can store them in a hash table, definitely I can search it very fast. So each position of the hash table, often called as a slot, that holds the item. The number of integer value is a logical representation, start with 0. Hash table is partitioned into many buckets. Each bucket has many slots. You may find a hash table as a single slot. Each slot holds one record, and a hash function HS transforms how it is being stored. When you are looking into store a item, we assume that all items have a unique identifier or a key value. So the mechanism is that sometimes people define, we need a function, hash function, which maps the key space to address space. Okay, key space to the address space. So sometimes you required whenever you try to store different files into the secondary storage also. I'll discuss a mechanism. Any of you know how logically the storage area is divided? I mean, I am talking of secondary storage. There is one term you will be finding. There will be two overflow areas are there. One is called primary overflow area. Another is called secondary overflow area. If you look into the characteristic of a secondary storage device, so there you can find a term called overflow. That means to reduce the time, there are two other areas are fixed. Okay, we'll come to that overflow later. First, this is the basic characteristic. You may have a hash table like this, where you have single slots, you have 2 slots or 3 slots. As I have explained, depending on the requirement, depending on the word length of your memory, you can have the size of the what type of information you are going to store. You can have the slots of that size. Sometimes you may be storing more than one information, like maybe you are storing the roll number and the date of birth. So both the things is going to occupy two consecutive slots. Okay, so it is not always a single slot. And if you look into a some information, suppose how many different type of file organization you remember? Can anybody react? Have you heard of the file organization?
Primary, secondary, and indexed, I think.
No, file organization. Yes, please.
Continuous linked.
Yes, Satyendra, bolo.
Yes, sir. Continuous linked or sir indexed.
Index.
No, file organization. File organization. File, you know, na? File. Where you have had it first when you are working for the C language. Huh?
Sir,
Any of your
FAT32.
Yes.
FAT32.
No, FAT32 is something different. No, FAT. I am talking of file. What is a file in the context of program? I am a computer. You must have come across first word file when you try to create a program. People call it as a file, right? Huh? You are creating a file in computer. Na? What are the different type of file organizations are there? It's a part of data structure. I think I told you when we represent the data structure in primary memory, it is a data structure. When we represent or create a data structure in secondary memory, it is called a file structure. Okay. So in this era, actually, when people try to work on the big data and the database, the basic things they are lacking, ki file structure is not taught to them properly. But some institute, I have seen their course of study, they are teaching still the file structures. Okay. I'll tell you the source where you can get, where you can learn the file structure. But if you look into the file structure, we classify them into, okay, at least one thing you know, when in the C language, you are creating a file that is a text file. You know the text file.
Yes,
how
sir.
many of you know? How many of you know you can read a data from a file and write to data to a file? C language,
Yes,
you know. Okay. So what is the type of file? That is a text file, right? That is a text file. Or what type of file?
Yes, text file.
Because you can open that with a WordPad and others, you can see it. Yes or no? I have written a program to multiply two metrics. Can I supply the input in terms of a text file? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Those who have not learned, it is, I mean, we are actually in learning process, nothing to be disheartened. Go to the book and try to open a file and try to write the result to a file. What are the default files are available in a system? What are the default files available in a computer system? How many default files are there? You see, whenever you are typing something in the keyboard and try to supply the input to the your program, or sometimes we call it as a standard input. So you are writing to a file that is standard input file. Similarly, opposite, there is a standard output file, and third is the error file. There are three default files available with the system, and if you, without creating a file, if you try to run a program, how you are going to do that? Or you want your output will be stored to a file. What you did in case of C language or any other programming environment, any of found do that? You know redirection symbol, that is less than and greater than symbol. You can go for executable file. Just I am showing you the example. If you want to do that, let us say you want to run a program and you are at the, let us take the example of Linux, and my program is, suppose my executable program is my program, and I want my output go to my one file called output. I'll write like this. It will goes to a file, and a file will be created and it will goes to the output file. And if I want to take a data, if I want to take data from file, I want to take a data from file, I'll write like this. This double arrow and single arrow has a different meaning. This is my program is ready to run. It accepts data from the input file, output goes to a output file. Okay, and if I can do that also, I can take the input from this file and I can write like this. Okay, so here what will happen? I'll take the data from the input file and I can append my output to that file. So these default files are there and they are sequential files. So actually we have different type of file. One is your so these are the files, the sequential file, index sequential file, indexed file, direct file, which uses actually the hashing techniques to create the index. And index file uses what data structure to create the index? Yes, somebody was talking of a fat file or something. Indexed file. I create a indexed file. Okay. I try to store my data with help of a roll number and it will be an indexed file. Any of, I think, you people know SQL?
Yes, sir.
SQL.
Yes.
So what is the difference between sorting and indexing? Sorting and indexing. You can try to create a database, you want to sort it, and somebody try to index it. Let us say, I'm coming to example. I am creating a student database where I have 3 keys which can be used as a primary key. My roll number, my Aadhaar card number, my bank account number. Okay, I create a table. For some application, I try to create an index based on my account number. For some application, I try to create an index using my roll number. From some application, I need to create an index using my Aadhaar card number. Okay, possible? Any of you have executed any command on SQL to do that? Okay, okay, I'll not, if you are interested, I can talk on this because this is are the very basic things. Maybe you can say me a old timer, we learn these things from the scratch and we understood. It's a, I mean, it's a system which not allows you to learn those things. It's, but my interest is that why I try to name that there are different type of file organization and we are talking of a direct file. And here in the direct file, the mechanism or we store the record to the file using a hashing. And it was so easy to understood in our days because if I have to create a direct file and I'm writing a COBOL program, I have a option to use default hash function available with my compiler or I can suggest my own hash function. Okay, so nowadays everything is in the backend in the black box. So you are doing so. This is one of the indirect or without you can say this is a direct file organization or sometimes also we call it as a direct file or we call it as a random file organization which uses the hashing as a index. So very much simple thing, sequential file is your attendance register. So use a linear array. So now indexed file, what type of index you can use? What type of index you can use? What are the different indexings that are available? You can use your binary tree. you can use your binary tree, or in particular your binary search tree, or you can even use your B tree, you can use your B plus tree, you can use your simply binary tree, or there are many other data structures which we termed as the search structures. They can be used. So what happens when you try to search a information in the file, you are actually not searching the information in the file. That you type a roll number, actually it is searched in this data structure. Your file is created in secondary storage. If the file is created in the secondary storage, you are searching on a data structure, roll number, you find out a match on that data structure. There you pick up a address or address of the secondary memory or the location where your data is stored. Then the controller or the read-write head try to place the read-write head into that area, and you read the information, provided the reading has to take place, because you have to send the data to the main memory, and then once the data is in the main memory, you want to do the operation. I want to calculate the total mark secured by you, and your things are stored in a, let us come into the database, it's stored in a database or a file. You have written a C program to calculate the total number of marks. So somebody is entering using a text file, roll number, Mr. X secured this marks. So when I try to process the file to calculate your total marks, I have to open the file, I have to read it. And if it is unstructured one, like a simple one, it's a linear array. I want to find out the marks of the fifth roll number 5. So I have to read past the first record, second record, third record, fourth record. So 4 read is not, I have to do it, then only I can come to the 5th record. So the organization is sequential, means it's a line sequential. If you want the 5th record, you have to read past all the records. What happens in case of an indexed file? You know, you are at the root and you have to branch left, right. So depending on the organization, you can directly go to the location and find out the address. Then you place your read-write head there and read from the secondary storage. Similarly, the hash table, because I am looking for a roll number and where his detailed informations are stored, so I have to get that information from my hash table. So what I mean to say, if I am using hash table as an index in this particular field, I'll store the roll number and the address where the record is stored, that is the disk address. Assuming that I am storing the 1000 records, student records, but I am using hash table as an index. Any query you can ask, hash table as an index. Hash table loaded to the main memory, search is performed in the main memory to get the address of the record or the information or the detailed information stored across a key, or you can call for any typical student information system, it's a primary key, so you retrieve the data. So but the book, the way book explains, it explains in terms of a number. People thought that I can store a number, there is a collision, it's like that. Not that, it is actually example which is used for application. We store actually the primary key, the key through which we search the detail about a particular entity or a particular information which stored in terms of an index. Why I name into DNS server? Suppose you want to say DNS. You are searching for a domain name that start with G. If I'll store in the linear array, I'll go on searching. If I'll go for an alphabetical index, I can go for that. And don't think that there will be one hash table. There are multiple hash table also operates with connecting in a ring. We'll come to that. And sometimes depending on the best utilization of the memory, this hash table grow and shrink in the memory. That we call dynamic hash table. Okay, suppose my primary key is 4-digit letter. So maximum I can store 999 students. But actually in my branch 30 students are supposed to join. And they are using a 4-digit key. The first digit key indicates whether he is entering into BTech program, MTech program or PhD program. Okay, second digit key enters where in which hostel he is stored, because maximum I have a capacity of 30. So the next 2 digits are sufficient. So I can design a key like this. That is the region we say the key space, which is a large enough actually. If a student is staying in another hostel, second bit becomes 3. If it says in the hostel number 7, the second bit becomes 7. So that's why it says that the key space or the possible number of keys is very large. Now you think of your hash table as your hostel. Secondary storage location is the hostel. The register where your roll numbers are written and the detailed hostel informations are stored is your index. Okay. So if I am designing a key so that it is very easy to transform to the address, so I can immediately get. Like if I'm looking to a roll number, let us say your roll number is like this. It starts with 1, you are a BTech student. Second, directly I code the second field, you are staying in roll number, hostel number 3. And next 2 digit, which is also roll number, that is also same as your room number in the hostel number 3. So there is a direct mapping from your primary key to your location. Let us say your all hostel digit numbers are 4-digit number by some means. Then I am talking of simple transformation. I got where you are storing in the second bit. Next 2 bits is actually 1 3, but actually my hostel nomenclature says okay 1 3, and I will again take 1 3. I'll add them, so you will be found in the room number 26. So some transformation is required, that is a hash function which transform your key to the address space. Address space here I mean the where you are accommodated in the hostel. I have typed the roll number 1313 and it output I am getting 26. So I'll go to the 26 and I'll find it. If I know this logic, I don't have to search the register. I know your roll number and you told me by means this. Even if you do not told your friend that this is the logic, he come to the security, he says what is the roll number of your friend, you say 1313, he says okay, you do one thing, go to the hostel number 3 and go to the room number 26. And if this transformation takes place, you can find it the address easily. Or what you have to do instead of that, if you are using a linear array or a attendance register, then you have to search serially, and then it is the address is written that he or she is staying in room number 26. So this is the example, and this is the index structure. So not to be memorized the hash table as something it stores a number. So implementation of the hash table is called hashing, and the hashing technique is used for performing insertion, deletion, finds the constant average time. That means many students are coming, many students are leaving. I want to use hash table as an index, so I can delete their record, I can accommodate the new record. Okay, and now the situation may happen that the students comes, his roll number is 31. His roll number is 31, or maybe another student comes, his roll number is 13, but he has to mint for the another hostel. So I don't have any problem, no collision. I'll explain that. So this data structure, however, is not efficient in operation that requires the ordering information among the element. We cannot do that. Information such as find minimum and maximum, this is the operation which you cannot carry out, and printing the entire table in sorted order. So this is some of the limitations which stated. So why these limitations are stated from the beginning? It may ask you that if I want to implement these operations, can you do that? Can you suggest a new data structure which has certain hashing type of property, but it includes the find minimum and find maximum? The mapping between an item, that may be the roll number, and the slot where the item belongs to the hash table is called the hash function. The transformation function which stores the hash function. You see, the hash function, as I said, the hash function is the mechanism, the translation. So if you look into that, what I try to store, if I'm roll number is something, it stores that information. Maybe I need 2 fields. So sometimes people got confused that only numbers is there, I'm storing the numbers. Not exactly. The mapping between an item, the slot where the item belongs to hash table is called the hash function. So hash function maps from the key space, that possible key to a address space. Here address space, again I clarify. For example, we are showing a table. For actually, sometimes hash table creation is required, sometimes hash table creation is not required. If you have a good hash function, directly you are storing to the secondary storage without keeping a record in the hash table. If the index is maintained in the hash table, then during the search process, just like file system, the hash table is loaded to the memory and search takes place in the memory to find out the address. Suppose you have a unique location, just as they say hostel. All hostel room numbers are unique. All hostel room numbers are unique, and you develop a transformation function from roll number to the hostel number, and it resolves uniquely, or you develop a hash function. No need of storing a record. Roll number is 111, you transform it, go to this hostel. Roll number is 212, go to that hostel. No need of maintaining a table for that. This is one of the catch you should remember. Sometimes people say, oh, they will ask you, do you need a hash table for that? No, I don't require a hash table. I need only a hash function, which uniquely maps the primary key or the key items or my key space to address space. In general, the address space is very small or limited, but key space is large. As I have explained, I have a 4-digit number which can accommodate 999 people, but I have only 600 rooms in a hostel. Okay, so the hash function will take an item in the collection and returns an integer in the range of slot name to 0 to B1. This is again example. This is again an example. Okay, in practice, there is nothing from 0 to 10, 0 to 13, 0 to 14. This is just to explain you how the hashing works. We use from 0 to B, and we have a B number of bucket, address is from 0 to B minus 1. Okay. Now, when it comes to the mechanism, this is a classification broadly classified into static hashing and dynamic hashing. Static hashing and dynamic hashing. Again, but you are going to hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it was
Yes, sir. Audible.
it was disconnected for some time, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It was disconnected for a moment. Maybe the problem from my side. Okay, so the hashing broadly classified into static hashing and dynamic hashing. Why the static hashing? When you know totally I am going to get 500 students, so that is a static hashing. But I do not know how many students I am going to get, so I cannot wastage my resources by creating a table in advance. Like as I given the example in Java, if you go for a default hash table, it has a default size. Okay, sometimes for a few numbers, why to waste the space? And in case of the perfect hashing without collision, as I say, you supply a roll number, it will transform, a hash function will be there, which will transform a roll number to a unique hostel room number. So that is the example of your perfect hashing, and you can accommodate the whoever student comes, it will goes to a unique room. Similarly, you have a hash function where you try to map the two roll numbers, the two key will map to a single address. That is called collision. When there is a collision, we have different mechanism how to resolve the collision. Roll number different, but computer shows both of you are go to the same room number, or one is already occupied, and when the second person comes and he also asks to go to that room. Okay, so that situation is the collision. And when the collision occurs, then we have different mechanism how to resolve the collision. So the first mechanism is separate chaining, which is a typical arrangement in the storage space. And second is the open addressing. The open addressing is a transformation of mechanism. Instead of, suppose your translation function is very simple, x you convert it to x square. Okay, if the key value is x, address is x square. So there actually we did a manipulation. So one is called linear probing, secondary is called quadratic probing, third is called double hashing. As I said, there are many new open addressing functions, but for your courses and other limitations, most of the book they try to discuss 3 or 4 or 5. But interestingly, when you look into this, many idea will come to you to do certain randomization so that probability of getting a collision will be less. Then comes the rehashing. You try with one hash function, you are finding collision, then you try to do it with another hash function. This is something, instead of one hash function, you are using two hash function. Then dynamic hashing itself is a different data structure mechanism. It here the hash table you can say, or in particularly the index structure, it grow and shrink as and when the items or the students coming to your academic campus or coming to your institute. There is no fixed register is designed. You know, I have taken a register where I can write down the details of a 500 students. I buy a 500 page register in advance. That is static hashing. Here I want to buy a register, I am buying one page, or if two students comes, I am buying 2 page. If, or maybe something like this, in one page can accommodate 4 students. If 4 students, one page is sufficient. When another student will come, I'll buy one page. But my hash function is such, I have 7 hostels. Okay, if my mapping function says the first student go to first hostel, I'll buy one page. If my mapping function says when the second student comes, it goes to hostel number 4, I'll add one page. Let us make it very simple. Each hostel can accommodate 20 students. But the roll number, first student goes to hostel number 1. I take one index page. And when the second student goes to hostel number 4, I'll add one more page. But I'll not add all the 7 pages in advance. So this is mechanism is dynamic hashing. And this has also 2 flavors. One is extendable hashing, which uses a tree-like structure. And linear hashing, you know, it definitely uses a linear data structure. Okay, so I think if you have a class, I have to close these things, and I'll be uploading these details, whatever is available. There are 101 slides describing all the details, and sometimes if you look into a typical topic, and sometimes I try to look into the new recent techniques. These are not the very closed, topics that somebody says, no, I want to look for the new hashing. Just have a look into this. You have the GitHub link. You have the Cuckoo filter or Cuckoo hashing. So from the basic, one can look for a specific hashing techniques, one can do the literature survey, one can even prepare a small report that appropriate hashing for a specific application. One topic is sufficient for the few people. If one want to say, I'll do a small project comparing which type of hashing is good for one application. Okay, the source code help is available with the GitHub. And you see, look into that. I don't have any scope for a complete discussion because I need good amount of time. Building an efficient hash table on the GPU. Actually, in fact, I was looking for this type of topic for PhD students. I have a list of topics. I'll just, by Monday, I'll share that to them. So you see, building an efficient hash table on GPU. You want to use GPU for different machine learning application. You cannot do we cannot utilize the power of the GPU without a particularly index structure which will help you. So this is things you cannot get from the textbook. If you look into this, it is the detail of the DOI number is given. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier. It's a unique number given to a publication. You can click on that hyperlink, the whole paper will be available. Okay, these are the author researchers who proposed this thing. Okay, so this is a efficient hash table for GPU. So you can say these are the some topics which you can, if you want to go look into that, these things we are not going to discuss, but will definitely provide the information how to do that. Okay, and whenever you look into certain problems to calculate and this theorem provings, as you know, we already talk about the Professor Knuth. These proofs are only available with Knuth book, and all the books when they try to work on this formula, successful or unsuccessful as the two terms you are finding UN and SN, the proofs are left to the Knuth, but we'll be using this formula just to solve the problem. Okay, so I am going to share this thing with you. Have a look into that. We'll continue. We'll complete. There will be, I mean, I'm not going to divert you again, just as we did for approximation and NP complete. We'll not do that. We'll complete the hashing at a single go. Maybe it will not be monotonous when we talk about NP a lot of time. Okay, so thank you. Any other query from you? Anybody has got anything to ask?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So tomorrow is lab class.
Tomorrow, no. Tomorrow I am not able to take actually. Maybe I have to look up the return purchase. There's my UG classes completed today. So I can available for extra classes. Maybe sometimes if you agree, I can start from 8 AM also. If any of the day that you need to work out, if the on 8 AM slot also free, I can do that. Maybe if you'll get a per couple of classes, we can have a discussion, we can have an interactive session. Tomorrow there will be no class. Let me go through your timetable. By Monday we can finalize, because my UG class is already, I mean, today is the last day. I've already taken the class in the morning, so I can have many slots, because the morning slot now I am free. My morning slots are free, so you can suggest, or you can write on the message box which time will be suitable, or maybe a continuous class we can start from 8 and maybe 9 onwards you can attend any of the days. Hopefully maybe you don't have any class on Tuesday, I think.
Yes, sir, but we have some extra lecture going on now. Software engineering, advanced computer architecture. Wednesday 8 AM to 9
Okay.
AM we have advanced.
No. I'll talk with the other professors, with my colleagues,
Yeah.
and if I'll get exact timetable, because it was then I can resolve the things. Let me talk to Turuk sir, or that is your Mahapatra, so that I can do that. Okay.
Okay.
Let me try to find out a free slot for by considering all the faculties, or I can just now I can share that with a message to them. I'll get it finalized. Okay. But as seeing we are supposed to complete static will take one class more, and dynamic with 2 classes will complete. And for the reference, you please refer to, if you want to book level reference, you go for this thing. But problem and others I have explained, so don't be any issue when we look into the problems or the examples, the transformations.
And so for NP and NP hard, the whole NP chapter, na, if I want to go
NP
inside,
hard, you see, I have not completed. There are 7 proofs are there. NP hard portion which I have loaded, that is final. Okay, only one problem explaining NP hard, and the second example which I'll ask you to go through, that is the second problem in the process of proving. We try to prove that particular problem to be NP hard, and then I mean there are 2 variety of proofs are available In one variety of proof, 4 steps are used. For the same problem also another proof is there with 4 steps. So we have 6 to 7 problems for that. That will do it. After the hashing, we'll do it. But by that time, you please look into the update. I may be loading my update material. But for NP hard, that slide is there. That is complete, which is loaded. NP hard portion is complete.
No, sir, I am actually asking for revision purpose. No, actually, the network is not going too good. So I attended to lecture, but in between I disconnected. So I
Okay.
didn't spend too much.
No. If you
That's
have
why I'm
extra, now we can have the extra slots once UC is over. Okay. And maybe sometimes if you agreed, we can discuss. We are discussing many times over the team with other peoples for research work in other times. So I can have a free slot. Maybe I'll not dedicate it for any lecture. That day you can take any query. We can plan for that. Let me find the extra slots.
I downloaded your lecture. Now I want to go through it firstly.
Which one?
Your lectures. I downloaded this one from MS Team.
Anything you have a problem, anything you want explanation or further explanation is possible. I think Saturday, no, any faculty is taking class on Saturday?
No, Saturday no class.
Saturday, so that means Saturday we can do something, right?
Yes.
Saturday initially I was planning because yesterday there was some development, so some purchase and other meetings are there fixed on the Saturday. I mean, my other staffs are not coming, but my director registers are very much there in the office. So this Saturday is not possible, but coming Saturday onwards, the morning slots will manage. But this week definitely. And Monday, how many classes? I mean, everybody is taking. What are the extra classes are going on? Just tell me. All faculties or professors are taking extra classes?
No.
Professor takes that, huh?
There is only 2. Yeah.
Professor Turuks and Professor Mahapatra.
Yes.
Advanced software engineering.
No, sir, IT classes are already extra classes.
Yes.
IP and data mining is also extra classes.
Data mining.
Sir, data warehouse also.
Data warehouse. Okay. Data warehouse, Satya Babu sir takes that class?
No, sir, Vidyut, sir.
Oh, Vidyut sir takes that. Okay. I'll have to. So, I mean, extra time, Sarjvin, I think we have to finalize at your end. Okay, don't bother. Let me take it at a department level that we should finalize so that it will be easy for you, right? Because this many subjects we cannot negotiate. Or if you feel like suggest me a slot 8 AM, I don't have any problem. Any day 8 AM I can take if it is not conflicting with anybody. I'll be comfortable at 8 AM. It's not an issue. Huh? If 8 AM you people are agreed, I am comfortable.
So you are saying daily 8 AM? Every day?
I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem.
No,
I'll
sir.
look up
I
a
will
ready
get
to
that.
discuss. No, not Delhi 8 AM, definitely.
Sir, Wednesday, we people don't have, we have only 2 classes. So
Okay.
if other students have, means MTech
No, that
and
will,
BTech
no.
are free.
Let me today afternoon, let me go to the department.
Yes, sir.
Because I say a number of times I discuss my engagement. My engagements are like this, you see. Even for last 1 week, I think I am always in the college, but not able to go to my department. Something is like this, huh?
Yes, sir.
Heavily loaded. Maybe we are fixing the meeting with the companies and buying the instruments. That also we are doing with the team and others. It's almost 5 to 6 hours in online every day. Sometimes guest lecturers like that. So we'll fix up. I'm saying from my side 8 AM and from 8 to 9 or 9 to 10 is a very comfortable time, because office people, they will not be ready by that time to do some office and other works, to which I have to go to them for and complete those works. So that is one of the comfortable time for me. Okay, let us. I think let me go to the department. I'll send you a message. I'll send you the message over the Netris as well as the team. If Monday Monday, what is your class? 9 to 10. I mean, 9 to 10 is free
For
or?
information security,
Yes.
we are busy from 8 to 4:30.